more publicly we can deal with this, the more open we can be about it, the better off we're going to be. But it is still a battle. Sir?
I'd like to say I'm happy for the...
I'd like to congratulate the Liberal Party on the hard weekend they just had up in Ottawa there. And looking around, judging by the crowd here, I can definitely say I feel like a minority as coming from the youth point of view and perspective. And judging by countries such as France and the Netherlands, what hope or what can you say towards the youth that really renews our faith in the way we run our country? In the last 10 years, the global population has increased by 1 billion and it continues to grow exponentially. So how are we going to make sure that the youth are taken care of as well as the elderly populace with these changes happening, which we can't ignore?
First of all, you may be in a bit of a minority in this crowd, but I can tell you that if you'd come to Ottawa, you would not have been in such a minority. We had about 1,000 young people there as delegates. So, I'm glad you asked the question because we're really at a time of great change. We're at a time of when you look at the demographics, like the population, it's called boom, bust, and echo, right? Well, I'm in the boom, right? I'm part of the baby boom generation. And then following on, there was a bit of a slope back. And now, of course, there's a return back up. And you're the echo. And it's a heck of an echo. In fact, the echo is even bigger in many ways than the boom. That's why if you look at the Don Tapscott speech, he'll talk about that, because he talks about how that echo generation is taking over. But also how there's some real tensions coming up when we look at the policy areas we have to focus on. I talked about how much money is being spent on healthcare, and I can always remember when I was watching a debate once during an election campaign when I was out of politics, and Mr. Martin said, you know, the most important issue facing the country today is waiting lists for operations in hospitals. And my daughter, who's in her early 20s at that time, she said, "Dad, that might be his biggest issue, but it sure isn't my biggest issue." It's important to realize that. And when we talk about aging and healthcare and the costs and drugs, you may be interested in different kinds of drug policy, but when you look at pharmaceutical drugs, for example, that's a separate issue. And when you look at what we need to look at with respect to your situation is making sure that we've got the skills and the training and the investments in education and room for the investments in what matters to your generation as much as what matters to mine. And this question of intergenerational equity.